Wet flies are as old as fly fishing itself. The picture being shown are wet flies from the late 1700s. The spider wet fly is just one pattern in several different wet fly patterns, and it can be tied in a variety of different colors and sizes depending on the insect you're trying to mimic. This pattern was selected as the second fly in this series due to the small number of materials needed to tie the fly, and it introduces the fly tire to tying in and wrapping a hackle. During the life cycle of an aquatic insect, the nymph transforms into an ascending pupa or emerger and travels to the surface of the water to emerge as an adult insect. The wet spider fly is designed to mimic the ascending pupa as it travels to the surface to become an adult insect. Let's begin tying the spider wet fly orange partridge. In the vise I have a Diachi size 14 curved hook style 1270, and that's the 3x long. For the thread I will be using Danville silk thread, and for the hackle we'll be using a single partridge feather. First thing I like to do is go ahead and prep the partridge feather to be tied in. When prepping, we're going to remove the fluff at the bottom of the feather first. Leaving the feather like so. Next, we're going to pinch the very tip of the feather and work the individual feather fibers back away from the tip. Which will leave you a feather looking like this. Now when this is tied in, the outside of the curve will be tied facing the tire. This is also the shiny side of the feather, and the underside's duller. It'll be tied in by the tip like this. So the last step in prepping the feather is we're going to want to remove all the fibers along this edge. And that leaves you a finished prep feather that looks like this, and will be tied in tip first like so. Go ahead and set that to the side. We're going to start our thread approximately 1 eye length behind the eye. And go ahead and secure the tag end of the thread and remove the excess. Continue taking touching wraps down the shank of the hook until your thread is even with the point of the hook. Spin your thread bobbin to create a tight spiral on the thread. Do 1 complete wrap at the base of the body, and then an open spiral wrap up the body towards the eye of the hook. This creates a subtle rib effect to the body. At this point, we're going to take our prepped partridge feather and tie it in with the tip of the feather. At this point, we're going to remove the excess. From the front and advance our thread towards the eye of the hook. With a set of hackle pliers, secure the quill of the feather and begin wrapping the feather towards the eye of the hook with one wrap directly in front of the next, or the previous flap. And we're going to continue to wrap the feather forward to build up the collar of the fly. It's helpful ever so often to control the feathers and to move them back to ensure they're going to lay back over the body. Once we have the collar built up, we're going to secure the quill of the feather and capture it with the thread. And at this point, we can remove our hackle pliers. We're going to hold the feather quill back along with the individual fibers and start building up a small head on the fly. At this point, we can take our whip finisher and, while trying to keep the feathers pulled back with one hand, complete a whip finish and finish the fly. I'm only going to do one whip finish to this fly, as I do not want to build up the head too much. Now that that is complete, I can take the excess quill and go ahead and cut out the remaining quill. Apply a little bit of head cement to the whip finish. And to ensure that the eye of the hook will be unobstructed, we can take that piece of the quill down through the eye and clean out any head cement that is in that eye. You have just tied the spider wet fly partridge orange, or orange partridge I should say.